royalties are actually standard. They're usually standard, even for the bigwigs. They're going to be a certain percentage off of the hardcover, a certain percentage off of an audiobook, an ebook. They're pretty much just the same in every single person's contract. And royalties, by the way, you don't get royalties until you've earned back your advance. So let's say someone pays you $10,000 for your book. You have to sell through the equivalent of $10,000 worth of books, which, by the way, you're only getting like 45 cents or something off of a $10 book. It's going to take a while, So there's not much negotiation there because it's just sort of an industry standard. Where there is you can negotiate things like you can try to get bonuses if you sell through a certain amount of books in the first 6 months, in the first year. You can hold on to your world rights. If you have a big book especially, it's kind of an exciting book, usually the publisher will bid on world rights, which means they have the right to try to sell your book in other territories. You can try to hold on to that right, and either your literary agent will take care of it for you, or for some reason you think that you can sell your book to other markets. You can hold on to your audiobook rights, which is something I'm telling more and more people to try and do, because a lot of, especially with Penguin Random House, which is huge, it has so many imprints, they have their own recording division. So when they go to make your audiobook, you get no money from it. But audiobooks are a big market right now, and especially for people at the independent press level. Like my third book, I got twice what I got for my advance just from the audiobook. But people, I think the bubble will burst, but people are overpaying for audio rights because it's just this, people are like, the industry. But so you can hold on to your audio rights. You can hold on to things like first serial. There's certain things that you can hold on to, but the amount of royalties that you're getting are usually, then of course you can, if you get to that point, you can negotiate for speaking engagements. You do. No one's going to force you behind the pulpit to deliver a keynote, right? You can negotiate what you're paid to show up and speak. What other kinds of freedoms do you have? Not so many. I mean, at the end of the day, once you're collaborating with a publisher, there's only so much back and forth on things like a cover before your agent's going to be like, just shut up and accept the cover. It really is a collaboration. It's not, and this is true even for incredibly successful authors. Weirdly enough, oftentimes the more famous you are, the less control you have over what your book looks like and the way that it's talked about, because the more successful your book is, the more outlets that want it. So I have a friend, New York Times bestseller, who, and I talk about this in the book, her cover, was it Barnes & Noble said, we're not taking that book unless it has a different cover. It was a book about ballet, and they wanted to see a ballet shoe. And it started this whole fight because my girlfriend was like, but this is not some shitty book about ballet, it's a very serious, and she is an award-winning author, but Barnes & Noble, she's such a big deal author that this was representing, 17,000 books or something that they were not going to order. It basically meant that she might not make the New York Times bestseller list that first Holy Week. And my God, did they go back and forth. And it was heartbreaking to see. She showed me the different thumbnails and everything, and ultimately, ended up with this dumb ballet shoe with a ribbon. And, she's a big name, but she couldn't. So often you have more control, like the less that people care about you, then you can get what you want, really, because no one has anything at stake. So I know it's sort of the freedom, is the low levels kind of. Obviously, it's nice to make money. You can.
But sometimes if you're wildly successful, there's the expectations of what people want from you.
Well, and you do become a brand, and I'm not arguing to anyone like, run away from success. success or anything like that. But it's a very hard industry to make money in. But it's true, 100%. Once you start having some success, what your people are going to want is that you become a brand. And you know, when I said I was going to pivot and that my third book was going to be this thing, a little bit different, historical fiction, my agent was like, this is an incredibly risky career move. This is like, we need to talk through this. So we had like a come to Jesus moment, you know, because it was a shift in the tides. And what I was supposed to do was keep writing the same book, right? And, you know, my soul feels good for what I did. My bank account is very shook up. Leaking. But, you know, it's an interesting industry that we're all trying to break into. Yeah.
You want to take, I guess, the last question?
Yeah, sure.
Who wants to be last? Nobody wants to be last.
So you mentioned that when you moved to the Adirondacks and you were in a log cabin and you didn't have
Berkshires. We did look at the
Oh,
Adirondacks in the beginning, but they were quite far away.
Got it, okay. And you didn't have a community or an MFA.
Yeah.
But you had to build that.
Yeah.
How did you build that? Like, how did you start building relationships?
So in comes the copywriting again.
Oh.
So at that point I was freelancing as a copywriter, and I got, I worked with a talent agency called 24/7, which I think has an office here in Providence. And they came to me, I'd only been taking freelance work, and then they called me one day and they were like, okay, we know you take freelance, but we've got this amazing opportunity in New York, and it would be part-time, like 3 or 4 days a week, to be a namer, to name products and brands. And I thought about it, I was like, well, how do I do that? Like, I live in Massachusetts, I have a husband, so how do I work in New York? Okay, well, and I thought, hey, if I take this job and find some place to bunk up, I'll be in New York 3 nights a week. And what if I said to myself, for every single night that I'm in New York, I have to go to a reading series, and at every single reading series, I have to introduce myself by actually like shaking hands to one person. That would seem to offset, then it would be like my own MFA, that would offset the sort of, I don't know, emotional cost and financial cost of being in another state. So anyway, I did that, and I did it for 4 months. Every single night I was in New York, every single night I went to a reading series, sometimes to introduce myself to one person. And what you quickly learn, I mean, honestly, by night 4, I was like, that's all the same people. Literally all the same people at all the same reading series. They move in a flock. And they have the tote bags, so you know which magazine they're from. And the readers are also similar. And I was like, okay, between 45 and 60 main players here. And I met them. Really doesn't take that long, you know. They're most of them are good people, nice people who, especially when there's new flesh, they're like, finally a new person, you know. They've all been together for so it's like Friends, right? It's like the show Friends. It's like finally a foreign body introduced in that apartment. And I started meeting people, and then they were like, what MFA program are you for? Oh, no, and oh, do you need to, like, would you like to read? Do you have anything? Because someone dropped out on Friday. You know, I started making friends, and they invited me to read, and I really like doing reading series. And I was coming up with new work just for the mic, like for whatever reason, stuff that worked well in front of a crowd. And it was just amazing. I mean, I'm an outgoing person, so that went a long way, you know. And at that point in my life, too, my copywriting job paid pretty well. So, you know, well, honestly though, you didn't need it. It's just a beer. Like, all you need is enough money for a beer and some Trader Joe's nuts that you keep in your bag, and you can just power yourself. I powered myself through those 4 months. But I met so many people. I made all the contacts, especially in New York. Like, you are meeting the heads of the magazines that you're sending work to. You're meeting the heads of like the National Book Award Foundation, the Whiting Foundation, all these people are right there going to the same parties and going to the same. So, and then the other thing that I learned was how to edit myself better, because I'm sure we've all been there if you've ever sat in front of someone who doesn't have a very good reading voice, and they're reading, and they're supposed to read for 7 minutes, and they read for 18. You wanna emerge out of your own skin, you know, you're just dying. You'll do what, I would go back to my manuscript sometime that night and be like, oh, I thought I could get away with an in-joke. I thought that was kind of fun and saucy, but I saw how that guy's in-jokes went over, so out, cross it out. And then I started, because I was writing new material for these reading series, it was very fresh, so I'd bring up like a crayon, a yellow crayon and a green crayon and a red one, and then I would just highlight, like, when it was going well, you can feel it, you don't even need a crayon, you can feel it, but I would just slash through the paragraph in green and be like, that landed very well, and then I'd slash through it in red, this did not go well. And then later I would interrogate, well, why? Normally it was because I went on some tangent, you know, which ultimately are not very interesting, except to you. So it really taught me to be an amazing editor of my own work, which is, what, 85% of the game is learning to edit your own work, because for so long no one else is really going to help you. So, you know, you're in Providence. Providence is a big city. There are a lot of reading events, but you just get yourself out there. It really, I mean, listen, you can do a lot of networking on social media, you really can, but nothing can replace getting out, going to these parties, even if it's awkward, like, it's fine, write about it later, write about how awkward it was. You know, think of everything as like a fodder for your creative projects. Going to the reading series of magazines you hope to submit to. Another piece of advice that I think is really, really important is to volunteer to read for magazines, literary magazines across the country, not just, you know, in your city. They always need readers. And if you volunteer for a magazine, then you start to read other people's work. You get to be the gatekeeper for once. When you see when you understand why you're rejecting other people's work, you will truly be able to start coming to your own work and seeing why people are rejecting it. It takes that kind of outer body experience. But for people who still have questions, I'm happy to sign books. I also have this newsletter, a slightly new newsletter. Get published, stay published. It's free. I have a very analog sign-up sheet. My agent told me to get an iPad and I yelled at her. So sign up for that, and then I promise you, okay, so now I am trying to sell, I've got the hot dog cart, guys, I'm selling it. But truly, even if you're like, I don't really like that girl Courtney so much, she talks a lot. There's so many other people in this book that it really doesn't matter. It's very funny, I promise you, it's quite funny. My husband said to me maybe a week ago, he was like, you know, I'm really liking this book. And I was like, what about the others? Like, he's like, no, he's a filmmaker. He's like, it's really interesting. And people who have 4 books out, or 5, they've been telling me like, oh my God, there's stuff, you know. But it's so exhaustive. I worked really hard to make this very exhaustive. So if you still have questions, I have to imagine you have questions. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go out there and look at the table of contents. I even have what happens if I die before my book comes out. when Trump happens to you. My publisher turned down my second manuscript, what now? Taking author photos. Oh, and one of my favorite sections is how to announce good news on social media. It's very fun. Anyway, I've talked at you a lot. If you have books, I'll sign them. You can sign up for my analog newsletter. Well, it's not analog, right? I'm going to mail you. Maybe I should mail you. It's very